Alrighty. Doing a little bit of an unscheduled stream. Of course, they're all kind of unscheduled. Okay, let's see what we can get going on here. We're going to be doing some cutting, some supports, some models. And we're not really going to do any crazy stuff. So this is a model that is kind of interesting. This is all on the K2 Plus, printed at a 0.12 millimeter layer height, using some it's got some stringing on there, but using some PLA plus. And then here is, this is a 2-part, so we'll see how this goes. So that's kind of interesting. You can see the picture off there. You can see it's kind of a giveaway of what that is. So we're going to go, and this model is kind of interesting because we're going to save this for a future. Ooh, this didn't work out. We had an issue. I don't know if you can see that right there. So the cape that was on the back ended up getting jacked up. So, interesting. And why that happened. But I wanted to test out and see if we could make a model. And yeah, that whole thing just split. So I'm not sure why that did that, because the rest of the model's fine. I'm wondering if there's some G-code error that had some issues. So we'll see how this goes. Very, very interesting. So yeah, I'm wondering if the G-code was messed up. And I'm very surprised because the original file didn't show anything. But this was an image, and I'm wondering if it was just too thin. I think that might have been the issue, because we can also see on the sword here that the sword is way too thin. So I think that might have been an issue. So, wow, that really just kind of buttered up there, didn't it? So it could have been, this is one of those AI generated deals, from text to image, from image to STL file. So I wanted to check this out and see what it would turn out. This is like the first time I've done this type of thing. And we'll see how it goes. So use tree supports, slim, with a 0.12 layer height. And let's see if we can get this. Can't they get this going on? PLA Plus was really, really it is really, oh, there we go. It was really a hard, durable, it's a no-name Chinese brand that I got here in Korea. And I just, on a whim, because it was so cheap, and I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and try this. But it has been quite interesting. So kind of do a little bit of surgery here. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, as you can see, the sword is very, very thin. I was wondering about that, if it was going to be too thin, and you can see it was, and maybe because of the layer height on this, 0.26 layer height for my models, top Z distance was, wow, that is tough. See if we can get some of this out of here. It's not too bad, but we didn't do any like special tweaking or of the model or of the, I should say, the settings on the K2 Plus and Chirality print. Let's see. And it is brittle. This strong and brittle at the same time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this out of here. Might. Look at that. But this sheath there is going to be an issue. So let's see if we can get rid of some of this. There we go. And this is for a future video. Yeah, this is what it was. It was too, you see this piece right here, it's just too thin. And yeah. So we'd have to do, and the cape was too thin, I think. You know, we might be able to fix that. So you do that, but yeah, that's like super thin. So I'm not surprised that this didn't print out. Let's see if we can get the remainder of this sword. And if we can do this. Tearing off too much of this crazy stuff here. Ooh, that is super thin. That front loin cloth. Yeah, see how it's just barely hanging on. So, which makes me wonder about the other piece. This is going to be lost his little loin cloth there. And we still have this stuff on his hand. And it was, which one did I use? I think this was the Bamboo Maker. And We got a little bit on there. Let's see what we can salvage. And then the other one, I think what we can do is we can, of course we'd have to do some funky stuff on there to get underneath, because it just didn't quite make it. And that sword was just way too thin. So it's still pretty interesting. So I could go through there and put that down. We'd have to trim a little bit. You know what? I got something better to trim. Ultrasonic knife. Let's go for it. I'll just go through that like butter. $40,000 hertz or whatever it is. We could end up kind of putting that up in there, and we could glue that in and do something like that. It is pretty thin. Let's see if we can do that. And I have some plastic sticks, or wood sticks, stirring sticks. So we'll see how this goes. Get on there. And this is just, I was just curious to see how well the text to image and then image to model program would work. And I think it was Bamboo Maker World or whatever it is. And then, yeah, just kind of ended up doing a thing there. I'll do a little contact spray. We got that on there. I'm not going to do his little loincloth, but yeah, look at that. Not bad. I mean, other than the sword, the details. We'll take a look at the file, and obviously the cape is a little jacked up there, but the STL file looked kind of interesting. So we got that one. And does he stand? Yes, he does. Cool. Now this next one is going to be interesting because this is, I took the Void Dragon picture, put it into the program, and then I cut it in two, and yeah, placed it flat, had it print out. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this turns out. So we've got a lot of supports. Ooh, this is going to be rough because of how this is. But the Void Dragon is a Catan from Warhammer, and I was just wondering, is like, how is this going to fare if we should do a picture of that and throw it into the generation, you know, the file generation Whoosy thing, and see how this turns out. So, because I had an idea that maybe, man, that is just so impacted. The supports, and this is a delicate model. So getting rid of these is going to be interesting. Yeah, way too many. Holy crow, that is going to be crazy. Got these little impacted pieces in here. It's wrapped around that tail. Now, the other thing I ended up doing, even though I did it as 0.12 layer height, I put a modifier piece on here to do the infill at 100%. And I think that's part of the problem that we have, is I'm not sure if the supports, no, the supports aren't 100%, so it only affects the model. So that's good, because if these supports were 100%, we'd never get them off. So yeah, an interesting model, and I'm gonna, if I can get this made and I can remove these supports, we got some messed up items on here, but the whole idea was an idea for a future video. Oh, his feet are just barely. Just barely gonna take shape there. So I did the planer cut for this. It was hard to, I shouldn't have put mouse ears on it. I was a little nervous, but you know what? We'll see how this goes. We'll see how it goes. But the idea was to check out and see what can happen with, like with a, just taking a picture, and this is only one picture of this Catan Void Dragon model. Put it into the Maker AI picture to, you know, to model, to STL model, and it cranked it out, and I was surprised at how well it reproduced it from just a 2D picture. And even the back, I was pretty impressed. I think it was with like Tripio, maybe? Trippo? But I don't know. With all these supports, you know, I was thinking about getting a roll of water-soluble supports, so that way you print in PLA and then your supports would be water soluble. But I didn't have any, and so I was like, eh. But if we can get this thing to get that. Yeah. We got a little bit of string, so we'll run a blowtorch over this thing. This is going to be delicate. Because I was just kind of perusing the interwebs and I saw that Games Workshop like suing people. And I was like, I wonder if Games Workshop is going to sue any of these, you know, text to model, picture to model companies because of what they can do. So, because Games Workshop really likes to sue people. But I wanted to just see how well of a job. Wow, that's pretty good. How well of a job these things do with models, and I can tell you, I'm pretty impressed. Ooh, that was close. And in hindsight, I should not have used mouse ears on this. Some of this stuff is so small. I tried to orientate this as a full model and just print it, but I knew that wouldn't work just because of the complexity of the model. So wow, I might. And it's so hard to. I think we can get a piece to get out these pieces. And especially this piece here because his head is so small. I was like, let's see what we can find out. See what this thing can do. Wow, that is crazy. And for those of you who know about Warhammer, there are some expensive pieces of plastic. And so if we get both of this done, I'm thinking about, we'll take a look and show you how much it costs to print this thing out, which is pennies on the dollar. Just not much of nothing. Be an interesting little project. I mean, that is quite the interesting thing. We've got an interesting thing going on. Put mouse ears on here. And so for this model and this guy here, it was like a 10-hour print. With some cheap, I should say cheap, well, it is cheap. Some cheap PLA plus. Issues. So we got some muddled up. Seriously? We got some muddled up little pieces here. So, yep, note to self, no mouse ears next time. Especially with this PLA Plus. I mean, it runs hot enough to where it adheres really well. This is gonna be the booger here because we got a bunch of messed up stuff. Wow. Is going to be wild. So I think with this, ooh, that's going to be crazy. Yeah, that's all support. That's hanging on by a thread. So yeah, that's. So we're going to have two pieces on this Void Dragon on this side. This definitely would work with like water soluble supports. Crazy. We might have to do a little bit of repair work on this. Oh, damn it. Yeah. Maybe water-soluble supports would be the way to go. But this might all come to naught for the fact that they have the Hay Gears, and Hay Gears has a new machine out to where it prints and colors the model. And it is insane. Yeah, I think we're... Yeah. support action here. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. Off there. These just ended up. Yeah, the supports on these are going to be so. And dropping it doesn't help. This is going to be so messed up. Because the connections on this are just so small. So I don't know. I think we might just have to leave this the way it is. Let's see a little bit. Let's pull this out. See if we can do a little bit of trimming here. I don't want to trim too much. Because this just really wasn't supported and we just have a mass of filament. So I think that's what we're good on that. This. So it's not too bad. This is coming out a lot better than what I thought, to be honest with you. I thought this would be a very bad failure, but then we have the other half that we got to deal with. So it's not over yet. This is part of the leg. That's the foot. Crazy. That was so super thin. So we might have to play around with this because that piece right there is like super crazy thin. So wow, I guess I'll just start at the top and work my way down. that. Not too shabby. But this has really got me wondering about water-soluble supports. So wow, that actually worked. Impressive. Will the Void Dragon come to light? Will it be a good enough proxy? Supports flying everywhere. But if you did water-soluble supports, that would increase your print time a lot. Because everywhere, yeah, you'd have to print your supports, so like all of these, so you do a layer, and one layer could include the PLA and then the water-soluble supports, and the number of changes, tool changes on that, or filament changes on that would be insane. So that would be like crazy. But if it's water soluble, then you wouldn't have to go through this. You just put this in some water, let it soak overnight or whatever, and I wouldn't have to deal with all this. That's actually part of the model, so we don't want to cut that. That's part of the model. It's going to be a doozy. That's crazy. And again, the brim and mouse ears were not a good idea. This is going to be interesting. There we go. Get a little bit of that. Give me a little bit of some there. There's me playing that Operation game when I was a kid. Would come in handy someday. Crazy, crazy. There we go. Yeah, that's his leg. And you can see how thin that is. That's just a couple of layers on whatever that is. Crazy. I didn't think this would print out this well. And let's see if we can. Ooh, we got some good ones there. Oh, this is the other part of his foot. Wow. Crazy. Get that little piece there. There's another model that I want to print. And kind of the same thing. It will be crazy. But now I'm kind of wondering if I should do it with... Ooh, that's delicate. That is crazy. Another model, but I'm wondering if it would be worth it to do water soluble. And that would be for another spacey marine type of character or model. Look at that. Wow, this is going to be quite the... Oh, look at that. Wow, I'm pretty impressed with the amount of details that this is able to... That is so hanging on by a thread. And yeah, I think we're going to do this into 2 parts. So we'll just cut that there. And this piece. And we can just start going off of this. Do that. There we go. I'm pretty impressed with this. I think this was just the luck of the draw when I made this from the picture. Well, I didn't make it. It was just took the picture off the internet and then put it into it was either Tripio or Meshy, one of Meshy 6 or something. And yeah, those are supports. And just pretty impressed on what it ended up doing with the AI stuff. Now this ended up being kind of a rough. You got a little bit of ugliness here. It's going to be rough. Roughy, rough. See if we can set some of this free. There's a whole lot of supports there. Maybe this would have been good if I did it on a resin printer and use like the Hey Gear software to do the automatic supports. And it should have been, that would have been probably pretty good. And for those of you who don't know, you can use the Hey Gears program, cut the model, slice it, do all that stuff, the automatic supports, and then you can go through and export it and then put it into whatever program, slicing program that you have. Oops. I think I cut the wrong thing. Yeah, that's an ugly part there. George says, hi, Underground Dog OG, greetings from Bangalore, India. Wow, you were the first person from India there. Congratulations. Thanks for stopping by. We're here in Korea. When you see how this model was made, it'll kind of, you should be like, wow, that's impressive. That's if I can get this thing, the details on this are like kind of crazy. And especially for this model. And of course you can see the picture on the screen there. So that'll still got a number of supports to do. Let's see how that crazy. Let's see if we can't. Whoops. Freeze some of this. See if we can't free Willy here. There we go. And we'll get some more pieces off of there. So hard to tell what's what. There we go. That looks a lot better. Wow, that is crazy. Crazy. I think we'll just, yeah, that comes off, so that's good. Tiny little bit there. Okay, so the other little thing is a little bit of mouse ear there. And I think we're good. So Dun-dun-dun. Let's clean this up and see if we can glue this together and see what she looks like. This will be quite the interesting. Let's see. So we could do the base like so. And then the other interesting thing is, how is this going to attach to the model? Because of gluing this, we'll be able to glue that. Oh, we still got this baby to do. I forgot about that. Like I said, I was really surprised that this is coming out as well as it is. And it's really thin, so again, I'm surprised. Look at that. Wow. Okay, I think we're good to go on this. So we might have to do some creative stuff here, which, by the way, I might have to use, where did I put them? I had some plastic or acrylic dowels somewhere that I bought, but I don't know where they are. I know I have them because I used them on some other stuff that I did. Alrighty, well, let's just get this out of the way. And let's just concentrate on this right now. We'll just get the base together. So we'll do our trusty CA glue. And we will lather this side up with some super glue. It's probably way more than I need, but good to go on that. And then we'll take this other side and we'll spray some activator on it. Oh, but I gotta line this up perfectly. So, because once this sticks, it is done. Kind of like that. Perfect. That. Talk about a one-time. That is amazing. Okay. Talk about the luck of the draw. Usually I don't have that much luck when putting stuff together. And so for this, I don't think I'll use the activator spray. This is more solid than this thing here. So I'll just make sure we get a little bit on there, especially on that bottom foot portion. And I won't use the activator on this one. can't line this up. Seriously. And come on, get back on there. That's pretty decent. Wow. I think that's good enough for government work. So now we'll spray our activator. And there is that part of the Void Dragon. So now the question is, can we... Oops. How can we get this? Did your stream get hit earlier? If you're talking about the one with Daiso, I'm not sure. See this, we're gonna have to play some games with this. So I think we might have to just kind of like set him so that way he's kind of resting, kind of like that. And then we can try to support him with, or we can try to go like that, something like that. And then we could just try to secure it on his leg like that. I think that would be our best bet. I hope not that was the fascinating store. Oh, the Daiso store. Yeah, that, I'm wondering about that because of the music in the background. It might get a copyright strike. If it does, I won't be able to monetize my video. But it's not like I make a ton of money anyway, so we'll put some glue there. Done. Let's see if we can get a good amount of glue on that. And we'll use our little activator spray. That sets, and then we can put some glue on his leg here to hold him up right in there. So let's try that. I'll have to do a fair amount of glue. And a little bit of activator real quick. And boom. Ah, look at that. So probably want to do a little bit more on the back end here. His foot comes in contact with all that stuff. But the Daiso store, yeah, that is the store to go to. And we'll just put a big amount on here. Get all that, we'll get that all goobered up with a bunch and spray away. And we got this piece that is Careful. Careful, Wilson. What are you doing? And then on this piece down here, we can put some glue on there as well. And it's up at the top. Okay. And again, a little bit of spritz. And it goes, boom, there it is. Bueno. I mean, it's a little flimsy. My plan was, if it didn't turn out well, I had some acrylic rods, if I could find them, to use a rod to go up the back. But it looks like I won't need to do that. But now I'm wondering, where are the acrylic rods? Oh, there they are. That's right, I put them on the shelf. So we got some acrylic rods here. And what I was thinking about doing is that if this didn't work out, I could just put the acrylic rod up the back, and then so basically have it go right to the base of his bud, or kind of up the back a little bit, you know, kind of measure from basically from this here up to like right there, and then that way that would be really solid. But I mean, this is pretty good the way it is. Well, I mean, if we got some, we could do some more. We could do some more. More. We need more glue. And I just saw, like right here, where that's at. We'll just put a mass of glue on there, and that will help with that connection. And I need to get another stir stick. That looks like it'll be a challenging one to paint. Yeah. And a clear spine. Yeah, the Daiso store is, you never go into a Daiso store and just get one or two things. We came out with a bag full of stuff, which was kind of crazy. There's always little stuff. Okay, now these little miniature skewers come in handy. That's what we need. Perfect. Oops. And again, a little spritz. And right in there. Starts to get a little hazy, and we are good to go. That is pretty sturdy. I'm pretty impressed with that. Dun, dun. So yeah, good stuff. That Daiso store. Like I said, anything that you need for your house, if you're moving in, Daiso is the place to go. So, yeah, I don't think I'll need a clear spine on this one. He's a little tilted a little bit. I mean, it could, then again, you know, there's not much I can do with that. But I am pretty surprised at how well this turned out. So there's still a few little hangers on this. This is a little ugly down here. But in the tail, we still have some stuff on that tail that we need to get off there. And then there's some other stuff here. Other supports. There we go. That is not bad. And then we could end up just doing a quick little, and this got ugly down here on this portion, but there's really not much I can do. With this tail, can we get more of this, clear some of this off? But yeah, Daiso store is cool. It is quite the place. As a matter of fact, I picked up this. This is a little thing. So a little makeup brush. So you can dry brush, but with this, it's got that. And what you can end up doing is I can slice this in half and put it in here with a little bit of water, and that would be perfect for like dry brush and doing that. And it's like 65 cents for this. You know, like 1,000 won is like 65 cents. So nice little container. Do some dry brushing, and yeah, you could take a look at that. You know, you can wash it out, just put a little bit of water in there, and yeah, you're good to go. And then like makeup brushes, kind of like this. I mean, this is like 65 cents. So some good stuff that you can get. But right now, I need to clear his tail. And everything is black. Not right now, sweetie. This would be the messed up part if I did everything and then snapped his tail off. There it is, let we go. Just like I said, I'm surprised that all of this printed out as well as it did. And there we go. And I'm sure resin printing would turn out really well. I'm just kind of surprised with the results we're getting off a FDM printer. We got it. Wunderbar. George says, oh, I saw there were Sotheby's is about to auction off every wood crafter's dream, a Wooten desk. A Wooten desk. I'm not familiar with a Wooten desk, but if it's Sotheby's, then I'm sure it's probably a high-end item. Try to clean up my desk here a little bit. But yeah, look at that. That turned out surprisingly well. Compared that to the picture, And we will, we got some little areas with some stringing, which we can fix with this. Oops, a little bit too much. Made his little antennas melt. You can put those back into place. It was so close. Okay, well, we got the strings off there, and that isn't bad. Whew, that was close. Almost too much fire. And then this guy, just to kind of get a look at him. And of course his cape was a little bit too thin. And then of course the sword was way too thin for that guy. So, but for resin printing, I bet you we could do this. But this I am super pleased with. Holy crow, that is just amazing. And you compare that to the picture. And boom, look at that. The Void Dragon. So let's take a look at, we'll take a look at the computer and see what we got going on. And I got a vacuum because I got support material everywhere. Okay, so this is the other model. This is the picture that I ended up getting, the little small guy. And then this one we haven't done yet. So that's going to be in the making. But we did this guy. And again, it was off of, I think I did it on Chat GPT. Or no, I did it off of Grok and got that picture. And then this one was a picture off of Games Workshop site. So you can kind of look and see how well that turned out, which was surprising. I'm really, really surprised that that came out. So, and then let's see. I guess we could take a look at the slicing program, and I can show you what's going on. George asks, how did the competition go? The painting competition. I wasn't last. So it was like, there were some really, there's so many good painters there, but I didn't place first, second, or third, obviously. There was no way on God's green earth that was going to happen. The only way that was going to happen is if the judges were blind. It was like, and even then they probably wouldn't pick mine. But I wasn't at the bottom, and there were some people below me, so I was happy. That was kind of like what I was looking for. But yeah, some wild stuff. Let's take a look at the share screen here, and we'll take a look and show you what we ended up doing. So here is our thing, and again, we printed at a 0.12 with a 4mm nozzle. What did we do? 3 wall loops, and then we did infill density of 5% with gyroid. But then, as we see here, we've got these blocks. Now, what are these blocks? These are modifiers that you can put onto your models. So like this one here, if we go through, it'll have to slice everything. But it'll show the infill because we're under the global settings. Of course, let me get myself out of the way there. under the global settings, you have the global settings for all this stuff. Come on, get over there. Stop it. That will affect everything. And then if you go to the objects, you can set different variables for that specific item. So if we go through here and we take a look, we just kind of zoom in on this, we can end up seeing the model, and we can see the infill, 5%. Yeah, 3 walls, we don't need a lot of infill on that. But we can see where on this model, yeah, we're looking at like 1 layer, and that's where that cape failed, which is right, boom, there. So that's where we had the disconnect on that one. But the rest of it turned out pretty good for the most part. And again, you can see the sword is very, very thin. And I didn't notice this until later. So with the supports at a top Z distance of 0.26, obviously that was a little bit too much. So let's change this to 0.2, and we'll reslice and see if we can get a little bit better, less distance between the support and the model. And we'll see how that goes. Because I think that was another reason why the sword didn't turn out well, because it was just kind of printing in midair, which I was really surprised that it worked. And I didn't notice this until later, after it was almost halfway, a third of the way done with the print. And I was like, this might turn out. It might not work. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, it's a little bit better. We don't have interface layers. That is odd. Top interface layers, 3. We got 2. Maybe if we change that to 3. And we'll reslice this. But this would be a good case that if you wanted something solely printed on an FDM printer, you could use water-soluble supports, and then instead of having to cut away all this stuff, your support material could actually be touching the model. You wouldn't have to do a top Z distance. So that would, we get much finer details on that. Or you could end up printing in PLA and then use PETG as your support interface layers. And it's still not doing the interface layers. So I'm not sure why, because on this other stuff we got some interface layers, but on these other parts we don't see it. So I don't know. That's just kind of a weird anomaly. But if we go back and look at these models, I mean, there is that model. So it's got, this was a little bit simplified. So you've got the triangles and everything, and it's talking about how it needs to be repaired. Let's kind of zoom in. We'll do the repair. And that didn't make much of a difference. But as far as the model, it simplified the model too. So there's something to be said. So we got a lot of triangles and stuff like that, but I'm still pretty impressed with, this was a 2D picture and then made into an STL. And then let's take a look at these guys. And what I ended up doing, this is that modifier, that this modifier has an infill density of 100%. So anything that's within this shape, that will all be printed at whatever variables that I have here, which in this case is rectilinear at 100%. So anything that is inside this rectangle is all going to be printed at 100%. So we did it with that side and that side. I bet you, let me see. We can do our downloads, and we'll take a look at this. So there's a better look at that. And if we zoom in there, I mean, we don't get the triangles. So that was and it is a thin cape, but that's pretty impressive, honestly. I mean, when you look at that, that is pretty wild. And that was just off a 2D picture off of Grok, and then took that into Bamboo Maker. So we've got that. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, this dude. And if we zoom in there, we can see some of the details on that, and crazy stuff there. You know, when we look at the details of that. And the picture that I used was just a 2D picture from the front. So that Meshi 6 or whatever it was, Trippo, it made up all of this on the back on its own. And then, of course, you can see the crazy stuff that we did there, that it did there. Just crazy how that turned out. So, yeah, that is a huge win. I don't think we ended up getting, yeah, we lost that little star piece in the center. That got cut away, unfortunately. But talk about crazy, that actually worked off of the picture that we did. And then the other one is going to be this heavy something with obliterator, whatever. And this was a picture from the front, and it was able to, let's see if we can make this bigger. Yeah. That was pretty impressive. It generated this, you know, even from the rear. It didn't have a picture of the rear. And that is almost spot on for what we see with this picture. Look at that. That is insane. And that's the, you know, this is it. This is just the 2D picture. That's all it had. And it generated this here. Isn't that insane? I mean, even the underside and the details on that is just absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's why I was like, what is going on with this stuff? And again, that was the that's the picture. It was a little cartoon picture, so real thin sword. But yeah, I was able to do the STL file, and boom, we're able to go. So. Let's see. George says, I've been looking at making a bust out of my grandfather using Bamboo Maker. Do you have any tips? Just try the program. I mean, that looks like it would be the thing to do. Hold on a second. I think I got too much light going on. There we go. Play a little bit with my little light thing. But I haven't done any busts yet, but maybe that's something we should take a look at. So, and here's the wild thing. Let me see if I can pull up the, no, that's not it. Dun, 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 dun. And I'll show you like the Void Dragon for shopping. So we'll take a look and kind of show you Warhammer Necron Void Dragon. No, it's not doing that. Hold on a second, bear with me. We'll just go to Amazon. That'd probably be the better way to do this. So when we go and take a look at some of this other stuff here, this is going to be interesting. Ta-da! There we are. And there is the Void Dragon, $110 for this baby right there. And there it is in all its glory. And let me see, do we get any other pictures? So you can see that's the model, which is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive, right? $110. And how much was all of this? If we go back to the preview, oh, we got stuff. I can't do that yet. Hold on. Let's just move this guy over here. And we'll go back and we will slice this up and I'll tell you how much this turned out to be. As you remember on Amazon, $110. And the grand total of this, $1.38. 7 hours and 2 minutes. So that would be what we would do right there. So yeah, crazy. So when we take a look at this, and again, $110, and we were able to print it out on our printer for $1.38. And then whatever time it took to take the supports off. You know, so we've been doing this live stream for almost an hour and a half. So that is crazy. Yeah, $1.38. So, and that's at a discount of 13%, or yeah, 13% off of this. Usually it's $130 basically. So yeah, but here's the other thing. That other big one that we took a look at, not this guy. We'll move this guy back over here. This guy here, that is a huge ass model. And look at that. That is like, ooh. And again, I think what I would, and it's been simplified. So you've got, that's where you got kind of like these ugly triangles and things like that. But if we slice this plate up and do the same thing, this is going to take like a day or so. We'll take a look at that. George says, saved a small fortune. Yes. But it's that Bamboo Maker World that is saving the day. So that's going to take a little bit. That's going to take a while to do. So the Void Dragon was $110, $127 normally. We did it for $1.38. This little guy, I just made him up, and that was like pennies. He would be, what, 30 cents probably, 32 cents or something like that. Absolutely crazy. But the other one, that spider-looking thing that we got on the screen there, Warhammer Necron Heavy Construct. Seraptech Heavy Construct. Dun dun dun. This guy here. This guy. This is going to be insane. If you thought we were going to save money on the Void Dragon, the big one over there, this one is going to save us. We're going to save even more. Let me make this a little bit, organize this so it's like that. Let's take a look at this, because this is crazy on how much this guy is. Wait till you see this. $400. $400 for this thing. $400. And we take a look at that. That was the picture that I used to generate this on Bamboo Maker World. I didn't submit any of these. The only picture I used was that right there. And those are that picture there. 400 smackers for that baby. And it is crazy. Resin modeling kit is not a toy, collectible item, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so this isn't even plastic. This is they print it in resin and then they send you the parts and then you put it together. It's the amount of parts it has is absolutely insane. So you go about, you do your super glue thing and boom. Yeah, oof is right. That's a bunch of money. So this is the next one we're going to print out. We're going to give this a shot, but no, we want Maker World. We'll jump into this here. And where was it? Models, Maker Lab. So we go to Maker Lab and create stunning detailed 3D models from a single image using Tripo 3.1 Ultra. And that's what I ended up doing. It was crazy. Let's see if we can find it. Image to 3D model, boom. And so here, and this is where you can do busts and things like that. So I'm pretty impressed. So we've done some items. You know, I did some bases just to try to, you know, text to image and then the image into this to generate the model. Yeah, it worked out. You know, some swords and so-so. But when we start getting to like some of these other items, like I had this generate this here as kind of like a Necron-ish kind of figure, and it generated that, which, you know, the sword is kind of jacked up and stuff like that. That was a while back. And then I did this one, and it kind of messed up the back end of him because it didn't really know what to do. So it's got kind of like the legs, that one leg down there. So this would be kind of a messed up thing. But even then, because it messes up the sword, because like the blade there is supposed to be on here, and then yeah, the other part of the blade which is down here, so it really kind of butchered this one up. But that was with one of the cheap Charlie ones. And then this was that little model. And if we take a look at this, so it ends up the little cartoony guy. And that's, you know, but that's what it ended up there. That wasn't too bad. And we made that into an STL. But the Void Dragon, holy crow. This was cut with Tripio 3.1 Ultra. And off of that picture right there, the front-facing 2D picture, it created this, which is insane. And, you know, you got your credits up here. I've got like 9 credits left. But you can get credits, you know, so like $8 US, you can get 1,000 credits. I think it was like 36 or something like that, or 60 or something. But we did that, and then we did this one here, the $400 one. And if we take a look at that, you can see the details that we got on there. And then, of course, then we downloaded that. And we set it for the H2S for the Bamboo. Nozzle size 0.4. We confirmed that. And since I already paid, or I had free credits, that we should be able to export this. But it should be the exact same as what we got before. And I think if I do this again, I won't do the simplify the model in Creality with the slicing program. So, and we'll take a look and we'll see how much the how much this baby is off of instead of paying $400. And waiting for it to get mailed, and then you have to assemble it. Boom. Boy, this is taking a while, but I think I already have it with this one here. So again, we took a look at that and the model. And this was out it being simplified. So it's a little bit better condition. But holy crow, that was amazing on what that ended up. And you can do it, you can download it as STL, a 3MF, because it's got colors, or a GLB file, which I'm not sure if GB or GLB is an acceptable file for Creality print. But yeah, just crazy on what you could end up doing with this stuff. And of course, if you want to do 4 colors, you could do all that. But yeah, pretty wild stuff. Let's see, what else do we got? Parametric craft light. You can do all kinds of boxes, containers, and so on and so forth. Different types of tools, trays. Bamboo's got it going on. I will say that. That is absolutely insane. Create a detailed lifelike bust with my statue. Oh, I don't think I got enough credits. Create from blank. Turn your portrait. So we want a picture like that. I'm going to go back here because I'm going to go through my pictures. And if I don't have any, where are photos? Photos, library. I'll see if I got a front-facing picture of myself where I look halfway decent. I don't want to put all my pictures out onto the interwebs. Not that they have anything to be ashamed of, but and just having a picture like that with a background. I don't know if I have anything like that. I'm with my wife all the time. Maybe. I'm looking, yeah, I'm trying to look for a good picture of me. And we'll try that out. And I know I've got a good picture somewhere. That's a video. Oh, I don't, yeah, I just want photos. Okay. Video. Gotta have a good photo somewhere. Straight on photo. Trying to find one. Honestly, I am. To see if this would... I don't think I got enough credits, to be honest with you, to do that. But I want to try to do a... Come on, Wilson. We've got to find at least one picture. Maybe that one? That's not really a picture. We can try that. We'll see what happens. Side viewer, incomplete face, non-human subjects, so you can't do that. I don't think this is going to work. We'll give it a shot and we'll see what happens. We will see. So, one free use left. Generate a 3D model. So this is the freebie I get. I agree. Keep fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. It doesn't have a white background. Ooh, I wonder if that's going to be a problem. It might be a problem. It might be a problem. Generating the model. This will be interesting. But yeah, Bamboo's got it going on. As you know, if you try this on like Creality, yeah, I don't think it's this good. So far, Bamboo is in the lead with all of this stuff. And I got super glue on my fingers. Imagine that. What are the odds? And that's generating. Let me get this void dragon over here. Wow, that is crazy. It came out so well. Oh, you know what we can do? So you can kind of, yeah. Crazy how that came out. Insanely good. Insanely good. Crazy. Gonna be priming this baby up for sure. It'll be interesting. George says Bamboo has some good tools. Yeah, it does. They absolutely do. That is insane. And this, I can drill some holes and put some magnets in here. So we'd be good to go. Let's see. Okay, got a little bit of tribal. It doesn't recognize the hair. We could edit the statue. Let's see what this does. Oh, it was because of the tattoo. Okay. That's... It recognizes my hair. Can we edit? So glasses transform. So we could make this bigger or smaller. And look at that. It didn't get the lettering perfect on the hat, but look at that. That is crazy. Wow. Let's see if we edit the mesh. Oh, that's the size of this. Okay. The intensity, select a brush, operation manual, sculpt pan view, brush size, whatever. Okay, we got that. Let's get out of this and we'll go back. What does inflat do? I'm not sure. Gouge. I have no idea what that stuff does, so I'm not even gonna mess with that. Let's add a base. Sure. Look at that. Base number 2, base number 3. It's kind of a messed up little base. I would like to be able to edit the base. I wonder if you can do that. Nope. The base. Okay, we got the base, but we can't change the base. I wish you'd be able to drag the base and make it bigger or smaller on the X, Y, and Z axis. If you'd be able to rotate this, I think that's the best base we got so far. That's not bad. Glasses. No, I don't want to add glasses. Transform. Ooh. Oh, so I can rotate this. Position, rotate. And so I can do that. Oh, okay. That's cool. So I can just give me like a side view type of thing. And then I can rotate it like that. Okay, that's cool. That's not bad. Ooh, transform the base. Here we go. Position. So we can move the position of this like so. And then we could scale this. Ah, there we go. So we could do like that. We could bring this out. So we got a more solid base. That is what I would want right there. Okay. Cool. I like that. That works out good. So then, that's under transform. Base, we're good to go. And if we go up to export, how's your experience? I would say it's good. Okay. Your make is ready. Download the STL. Yeah, this looks pretty good. So if you had a good front-facing picture, you could do, I mean, that's pretty impressive from just a front-facing picture, and then it fills in all the details. Like, that's crazy. Your creations can be used for commercial purchases if you share them publicly. Make my statue with the following. Okay. Oh, we did. So that is pretty good. So if we pull this baby up, and there it is. Wow, that is cool. Not bad. Not bad at all. That is kind of cool. Except for the hairy chest and whatever, but I'll just leave that up to artistic. What is it when you impression or whatever? I don't know. But that's pretty cool. So yeah, that is really neat. So on Maker Lab, let's see what else can we do on this. But the Tripio, when you do your picture to model, you have the choice of like Tripo 3.0, 3.1, 3.1 Ultra. I think there's Meshy 6. You have something else in there. So you've got a lot of different programs to get all of those details in that model. And some are more expensive. They cost like, you know, your credits that you have up in the top over here, the credits that you have. I've got 9, you know, left over. But yeah, that is pretty cool. Look at that. Tool trays. That is kind of cool. Image to figurine. Let's check that out. I played with a little bit of that. It didn't really work too much. I didn't like that. New project. And then you have different styles. You do bobblehead, chibi, cartoon, emoji. If we do that, natural pose. Let's do image pose. and we'll see what happens with this. George ends up saying, he says, I have one picture of him, so I'm going to get some nice marble filament and print a few for myself and my uncles. Oh, that's nice. That'll be cool. Yeah, that marble PLA and doing that butt, that's a great idea. That is a great idea. I'm going to go back and we'll rummage through the pictures again. And we'll see if I can find... If we can find a good picture of me. Oh, there's almost one. But it's got to be a full picture. I don't think I've got any full pictures. We can try that. That's close to full. Nope. Nope. Nobody. Nope. 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 We could try this. Oh, what am I doing? Let's see if we can put this as a picture on the desktop. There it is. Oops. And we'll go back to the share screen. We'll see what happens. I guess we could just minimize these. So I'll try this picture here. We'll see what happens. Chibi, image pose. I've got one for use left. And we will see how this works. Do a little chibi of myself. Which I got a couple of chibi guys up there for like Warhammer stuff. But this would be interesting. But yeah, that's a good idea to be able to take and do busts or pictures. Because usually, like my grandparents or something like that, my grandfather and my grandmother, you could do a little bust of them. That would be really, really cool. That is an excellent idea. That, and the number of credits that you get on here, you can do some really cool stuff. And like, I think the one for the Void Dragon that we ended up doing here, I think I used the Trippo 3.1, whatever. Yeah, no. That doesn't look like me. Can we do a cartoon? We'll see what this does. So let's go back. We'll do a new project. We'll do the cartoon. And we'll throw the same thing. We'll throw that picture in there. Like so. And we will do, mimic the pose in the original. Oh, it's going to need 15. Dang it. I'm not going to be able to do it. Oh, well. Anyway, so that's what we got going on. So I thought that was kind of cool to be able to go through and get some of this stuff in like the pictures and everything, to be able to take, you know, text to picture and then picture to model, and to be able to print all that stuff out. That was absolutely insane. So yeah, some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, good stuff. So yep, we got the little model there, and then of course we've got our Void Dragon. This came out great. This would work. This would totally work as a proxy. I am just so surprised at how well this came out. So you know I'm going to be doing some Yeah, I'm going to be doing some priming on this baby. We'll clean up some of the little dingleberries that we got on here, and we'll go through and we'll sand some stuff to make it as nice as we can. But holy crow, that turned out crazy good. And so we still got some areas that we need to clean up, like that right there. So we'll do a little bit of cleaning. Oh, there's a couple more. But wow. George says that Anycubic has a free one as well. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Anycubic. I didn't know Anycubic did that. Maker, yeah, they got Maker Online. So let's take a look at that. Since we got nothing else to do. I mean, I got dinner I gotta eventually get. So let's take a look-see and see what we get. So this is Anycubic. And we got some Cobra S1 Ace 2 Pro, Cobra S1 Max, Cobra S1 Max Combo, and the Pro. Cobra 4, look at that, $574, 250 cube build area, up to 16 colors, 44 decibels, that's nice, 320, ba-bomb. Nice, 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 nice. Something to be said. But let's go back to Maker Online. This is the one he was talking about. Necessary only. And holy crow, what do we got going on? Free filament giveaway? Sure. And we'll put official the varied life at gmail.com. Laboratory design. So they got little contests and stuff like that. Oh, that's kind of cool. I've never checked out Anycubic in this stuff. Nice. Model recommendations. Contest challenges, AnyLab. Maybe that's it there. Okay, there you go. So you got 3D canvas, creative environments, create, edit, optimize 3D models. Okay, AI modeling, mobile case maker. Let's try AI modeling. They have a total of 93,000 models. To continue, you need to log in. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to do that right now. But George says that they have some good Christmas filaments. Cool. Yeah, I might have to check into that. And then Prusa. We can take a look at Prusa and see what they got going on. They have printables. And so we could take a look and see what they do. And 3D models, store, club, brands, education, creators. They got different competitions and things like that, design competitions. There's some pretty wild stuff. Articles. But do they have, that's just 3D models. Contest groups, education. What else do they have? eShop, blog. I don't see where they have like a 3D generating stuff like we've seen. But there's a lot of people that do a lot of stuff on here, so that's kind of cool. But I've never looked for the AI stuff before either, so there's that too. Their index has come out. That's getting some good reviews so far. They're having some, of course, obvious issues, just like any other 3D printing company, but cool. Alrighty. Again, making me think about the Core 1L, but it's so damn expensive. Good Lord. George says Bamboo leads in the tools. Yes, they do. Absolutely. I think they've nailed it. That and their machines, they work. You know, very little playing around with it. Prusa's probably, you know, Bamboo and Prusa are the top two, I would say. Yeah, just absolutely crazy. So yeah, we did our Void Dragon, and the Void Dragon came out great, which is incredible. And then we're going to do that heavy construct, the little spider looking guy. We'll end up doing him as well. And that's going to be 1 day, 4 hours and 56 minutes of printing. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is that I will drop him out. Oops, I don't want to do that. Because I had to measure him. Okay, so I got the measurements. Let me write these down. So X, Y, and Z. X is 165, Y is 240, and Z is 190. That's a big model. And now we'll go ahead and we'll get rid of them. And I'll see if we can, you know what, I can do this. We'll go back and we will drag that model. So on the downloads, there he is. Boom. Let's make him a different color. So that way we can kind of get a better look at him. And then down here it says it has more than 1 million triangles, so anything that we do would slow this thing down. So here, yeah, this is a lot better. Because remember how it had all the triangles and everything was kind of jacked up? We don't have that as much. This actually looks really, really clean. Holy crow, that is amazing. I don't know if that program like generates or searches the interwebs to find what this thing looks like. But let's go ahead. This was 165. And this was 240. And he's a little, I need to put some height on him. 190. And this scale and the measurements were from people that have this model. So, I don't know. Maybe I would drop that down a little bit because that looks a little funky. Let me see. Let's take a look at the picture of that. We can see. Take a look at that. I wonder why I can only. Why can I not see everything on my thing there? He was squished. Yeah. You're like a crab. I wonder if it's the preferences. Preferences. Screen sharing. This will show everything that I got on the screen. Let's see what this does. Will it do it? No, I think I have to reboot it. But I can take a look at this. And that is a little high. So on the scale of this, let's take this down to 175. Try to look at that. That still looks a little funky. Try to replicate the, I don't know. That's pretty darn close. Let me try to make this. I wish you could see the reference picture, but let's see. We want to try to do that. Seems like it's too high. And that, I don't know, that looks kind of good right there. I don't know, maybe a little bit higher. But it was 190 for tall, and we've got it 170. Basically, we can go for like a 175. I think we'll go with that. So 175 for the scales, because it's kind of got a variance of 7.5, which is 190 tall. And what was the scale that we had? 175. Let's just do 180. And just call that a day. And we'll see how that goes. So let's close this. We'll minimize that. Get back to this. And let's rotate this guy around. Come on there. Come on. I guess it doesn't want to rotate around. Okay. That's the other rotate. And then we got to drop this down because it's not connecting with the build plate. So I have to go down to where we start to get, yeah, that's where it was. So we're good to go there. Maybe a little bit more, because I can get that front leg. Yeah, that's what we want. And then what we can end up doing is we could slice this plate and see how it turns out. So remember, this is a $400 model. Holy crap. Granted, it's in resin, but even years ago, this thing was, I saw a video and it was like $370 some odd, and now it's $400. And they're hard to find. So this one is gonna take a while, because it has got so many triangles, more than 1 million triangles. So this is going to be extremely slow. So we're not going to wait for this thing, but well, I kind of want to wait for it to see how much that'll be with the high detail on there. So yeah, let's see. What could we do? Yeah, we need to clean this guy up a little bit. There's some things that we can do. Oh, I do have cutters. But yeah, I'm super impressed with this. And maybe this is just the luck of the draw with this guy. That we just kind of lucked out, maybe. The stars aligned in perfect harmony. I don't know. And clean this up a little bit. But I'm really surprised. Holy crow. That is kind of amazing. Oh, that's why I forgot to get a Daiso with razor blades for my X-Acto knife here. Dun, dun, dun. George says, looks good, looks good. That thing is still slicing it. It's still at 71%. And there is a little one there. Try to look it up to the light. Got little individual strands. We need to get rid of that. You know, a little filler primer to fill in all the details, and should be good to go on this. I don't know if this model is going to slice because it's got so many triangles on it. I think I let it sit for like 5 minutes and it didn't work. It was still working. Matter of fact, no, it's still working. It's not, doesn't say force quit. So we'll just leave it alone. And matter of fact, we will close. I got Excel. We'll close that. We'll close my notepad. We'll close the calendar. We'll close messages. We'll close our VPN. We'll close preview. We'll close QuickTime Player. Okay, and now it just popped up to 80%. So it's looking good. Getting a step closer. See how much that $400 model will cost. Oh, it's at 95. Oh, is it gonna, hey, it made it, it did it. Yes, it did it. And we'll see how this turns out. I'm so happy with this. Okay, let's take a look-see and see how this turned out. Okay, let's make me a little bit smaller. I'll make this a little bit bigger, and we'll get the details on how much this baby's going to be. So there it is in all of its, oh yes, it's slow. That is going to be insane. And it is going to take 1 day, 7 hours, 42 minutes, 383 grams of filament, and it's going to be $7.68. So from 400 minus 768, a $392.32 discount. Ouch, that is crazy. That is going to be incredible. 24, so 31 hours and 42 minutes is what this will print out at. And this is at the 0.12 layer height, which would give us the most detail. I mean, no, not the most detail, but holy crow. I mean, the only thing we could do better would be 0.8. So George is like, can't wait to see it. I'm seriously thinking about doing this. Yeah. And boom, there it is. So that's how much that baby would cost off a $400 model. That would be wild. I think I'm going to print it. Ah, that is beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. So that would be insane. And then removing the supports wouldn't be that bad, because you can just like cut on some of these areas and get like the big trunk out of the way, and all of these other ones should be able, you know, you could cut like right there, you know, kind of cut these big trunks here to get the big stuff out. The only problem would be where they connect here, but that's not bad. I don't think that would be too bad. The only problem area would be right in here, inside of there. But other than that, I don't know. It could work. I think that's what we'll try. Okay, so that is going to be our next big print that we end up doing. That was quite the interesting print. Okay, so anyway, that's what we ended up doing. Cool. Thanks, George, for showing up. And other people, if you're watching this, I'm Steve, the American expat, retired here in Korea. We do 3D printing stuff and painting and miniatures. And we made a Void Dragon off of Trippo 3.1 Ultra, and it came out quite impressively. So we'll throw on some filler primer onto this, and we got a couple little dingleberries to get off of him, but for the most part he turned out well. I'm super stoked about this. This is way better than anything I thought would happen. So just a little bit of trimmy here and there, and yeah, then we can drill the bottom, put a few magnets in there to magnetize that base, and we will be gold. Okay, so that's going to end up being it. I got to get some dinner, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll just go ahead to the obligatory outro. There's my email. A bunch of people bought me coffee. They're awesome people. Much respect to them. You can do that as well. Link in the description box. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we can see what other stuff can pop up off of the printer. So I'm kind of looking forward to this. We'll see how this goes. We'll have to go over some other details, the walls, all of that stuff. I think we should be good. But yeah, we'll have to do some tweaking, because if I print this, I want to make sure everything is good as I can get it. So we'll do that. So anyway, that's going to be it. Turned out really good. Void Dragon was awesome. The other models, you know, I mean, being able to have a Void Dragon based off of a picture off of the Maker World and download it as an STL and print it out on an FDM printer, holy crow, that is insane. Okay. Alrighty, George says, have a good one. That's going to be it. And I'll say the same to everybody else who's watching, and we'll see you on the next video. All right, cool. Peace. Man, that turned out.